What is up, everybody? We're rolling audio here today on episode 84 of The Hodder Show. I hope you're doing fantastic. Thank you so much for tuning in, clicking that play button on today's episode of the podcast. Got a kind of a interesting episode for you here today, guys. Last night I sat down with my buddy, Mr. Garrett. We were having a couple beers. I kind of want to do another Mikes and Beers, actually. But it only ended up being able to be the two of us, which is good. You know, always have a good time having Garrett on the podcast and that kind of thing. And we were kind of chatting before the microphones came on, kind of complaining about our weeks in a way, and just talking about how much 2016 has kind of sucked. So we kind of just decided to put the microphones on and just shoot the breeze and complain about some stuff. And I've just had a friggin' hell of a week. And I go into all about it in this podcast here. We kind of talk about like weird things that has happened to us and crazy things that have happened to us and that kind of thing as well. Kind of a random podcast. Definitely some really good funny moments in there. But either way, it's kind of a random cast, I guess. Kind of a definitely more of a vulgar podcast because we were drinking and complaining and that kind of thing. Not quite a full Mikes and Beers episode or anything, but definitely some more mature content in this podcast. Definitely the 4-letter words were definitely flying in this podcast. So just something to keep in mind if that kind of thing does offend you. But either way, I think there's definitely some funny moments in there as well. But either way, kind of a random podcast, but if you gotta get some laughs out of it, find some entertainment in it. Not really much else to say for the intro here today. We're just gonna roll right into it. Let's get into it. Recording now that we have nice. See, now it's still recording quiet,
but the audio is a little bit more balanced than it was before. Before it was like stupid low,
but now it's like at least like okay.
It's not picking up any weird noises, which is good.
No, which is nice because now fucking outboard gear. Goddamn,
this is what you get.
Goddamn outboard gear.
But it gets the job done, right?
Absolutely,
it's pretty high quality.
It's just learning how to do stuff that I should know by now.
You've been doing this for what, 83 podcasts? 84?
83. This will be 84 when this goes up tomorrow.
So you're like semi-professional.
I mean, I'm basically a broadcast journalist at this point.
Yeah, so you basically do blowjobs for talent stories.
Essentially.
Yeah, okay.
I got to get people on here somehow.
You haven't made your way up to intern yet.
No. Eventually, I'll get an intern to do it, but until then.
Have you had anyone like comment on the quality of your podcast?
Actually, funny story.
Anyone that's not family related or that you drink with?
Actually, funny. Yeah, I drink with. Funny story. Actually, there's
because we just tell you it looks good because it makes us look good.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the people who are on the podcast always comment. I have had a few people. Obviously, my boys that think about podcasts commented before that the quality's good.
Well, and they would be a pretty good judge of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's when fellow podcasters or YouTubers comment. I had someone the other day. The Press X to Jump guys did. So shout out to them.
Are you in the podcasting community now?
I am.
Oh shit.
We're working on something.
Remember where you came from. Remember the little people.
Yeah. Yeah. When I have all 10 of my followers. Well, I mean, I'm trying to keep up with the thing about podcasts because they're just exploding, right? Like, they're getting on that social media shit. But
I've started listening to more podcasts once I started listening to yours, and then I was like, I don't know. So depending, like one big thing for me is like when I do my online gaming, I used to run like my iTunes in the background because like my music library is pretty fucking huge, right? So I can just leave it on shuffle, and I'm pleasantly surprised all the time. But Brandon got me onto it too. Is he puts different podcasts on and he just does fuck all. But I don't know, it's nice having something to listen to that's different. But what about that one pod? I think it was 15 or so ago when you covered the EP from Outshined.
Yep.
When you actually like started dropping in like the tracks. Like
I actually dropped the tracks. That was something.
That was actually a decent quality one too. I remember listening to that one all the way through.
All I can say about that one is the reason it was so good and so well received is because I did minimal talking.
Just saying, if you shut up once in a while.
If I just shut up once in a while and don't say anything, the podcast would get a lot more plays. But what's funny too is there was I'm kind of slowly getting into the YouTuber world as well, because they're like their own thing. You got the podcasters. There's like 6 levels of podcasters, right? You got like your everyday average Joe podcasters like myself who do it just, we're in it for the long haul, but it's like, you know, it's a fucking like,
It's all about the audio.
it's all about the audio. It's all about having fun. It's doing it as a hobby. You know, we're not doing this to make money or that kind of bullshit.
But if you could.
I mean, if the opportunity presents itself, I'm gonna. You know, and then you got people like who are kind of semi-professional. They're on a subscription-based website or something, and they're getting paid.
Part of like a radio show every once a month.
Yeah,
kind of thing,
something like that. They're getting paid. You know, somehow they're getting serious guests in.
So we call those the wannabes because they're like just below what you're getting at. They're like the podcast wannabes. So they're the ones that like they want to be the top of the podcast game. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not necessarily. Like I'd say they're pretty much. I mean, they're doing better than me. So basically, as far as I'm concerned, there's like 3 tiers.
There's cats that are doing better than you.
I mean, realistically speaking, if you get like a nice Persian or something, like he's probably doing better than me. And then you got like the podcasters, like
the ones that like film it and shit.
They are doing it like for a living, or you know, they're like actually legit. They're like featured on iTunes and they're on Spotify. Because let me tell you something about Spotify real quick. I got major heat with Spotify right now because those stupid motherfuckers. They
won't host your show.
They have podcasts, right? And so my thought process is, if my podcast can get on iTunes,
it can get on
which
Spotify.
is much bigger than Spotify, just for the record. I figured, what the hell? Why can't my podcast get on Spotify? Spotify does not host podcasts that are sent in. They choose the podcasts that are on their service. I understand why, but
why aren't you picking the Hodder show?
I mean, the Hodder Show is quality content. We've been around for 84 episodes. I mean, come on, Spotify. Help a brother out.
Maybe they're waiting for you to hit the big 100.
Maybe
that's the thing.
100.
Is like you get 100 episodes in like a fan base of like 15 people instead of 10 people.
Yeah,
and they're like,
then they'll be
what's
like,
up?
yo, he's grown a little bit, so we'll take him now. But I think it's the fact that, like, you know, like, I'll be like, oh yeah, my podcast is on iTunes. Now, let me say, it's not that hard getting a podcast on iTunes, okay? Like, you know, I understand that. But it's like, really, Spotify? Come on. So then I go and check out some of the podcasts that are on Spotify.
And they're shite.
And they're terrible. They sound like crap. That's like my heat with Vince Russo for having a podcast on Podcast One and it sounding the way it did. Even though I understand it's Vince Russo and everything, so everyone doesn't care how it sounds. But it's like, I got time to hear Vince Russo and your show with Shawn Michaels. Shawn, how you doing? Sorry. Like, that's how it fucking sounded. I'm not even exaggerating.
That's pretty fucking terrible.
And I'm listening like, and this is, his podcast was available through like the pay subscription. Why would I pay money to listen to something sound that terrible? I don't give a shit who's
Same thing I said to you when you asked me why I wasn't listening. You're pretty fucking agitated today.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a bad mood. I've had a long goddamn week, but before I go any further, kind of finishing off the whole, what you asked me earlier about if people have commented on the quality, I want to shout out a YouTuber real quick. Even though I just realized I don't have her thing pulled up.
Oh, whatever.
Rain Q, I believe it was. RAYNEQ. She commented on one of my videos saying I have a very good voice for podcasts, which I found
see his
very
face.
surprising. Yeah, did you see my face? I've got a face for radio. But she has a really cool, like, kind of unique, upbeat take on the wrestling YouTuber. So shout out to you. Thank you for the compliment. Appreciate it.
Rain
Keep
Q.
doing your thing. Rain, RAYNEQ. She does like kind of like what Brandon used to do. Like, it was like jump cuts. But like she's like
a vlogger,
like
almost
all like excited and happy about stuff. So it's a really nice, refreshing
and so
take.
it's like entertaining for once.
Yeah, it's not like
Shoutouts to Brandon.
Shoutouts to Brandon, your average new wrestler. We love you, Brandon. But yeah, no, I'm pretty fucking agitated this week. This is not a PG-13 podcast. If you guys couldn't already figure it out, I'm pretty agitated. I've had a long goddamn week.
It's one of those days that make you drink. Make you drink.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
This is not an official Mikes and Beers podcast or anything. No. I kind of wanted to do a Mikes and Beers podcast and like get drunk and like just have fun. But I was kind of like, you know what?
I'm not in the mood.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm in the mood to kind of complain about some shit and talk about some negative shit for once.
Throwback to our last podcast where we talked about how we're getting old and we complain a lot more.
Yeah, and then literally I did a podcast on Adam about how old we feel and stuff, and now I'm just doing a podcast where I just complain. This show is just going down the hill. I mean, I'm not going to complain that much.
It's going to hit retirement real early.
Yeah, I'm going to hit episode 100 and just call it a day.
Stack that pension plan.
I had a guy ask me the day, he's like, so when are you going to call it quits? I'm like,
The day you burn in hell, you son of a bitch.
I was like, oh, bro, like, I haven't really thought about it. And he's like, well, once you get to episode 100, I mean, like, that's a pretty big, like, people would understand if you retired for that point. I'm like, why would I retire? It's not like this is taking up, like, it's not like this is like.
I would laugh so hard if you get to 100 and then it's like 65 views and you're like freaking the fuck out. And then like you go to 101 and it's like 7.
Well, that's the thing is like I had a little rise in viewership there for a couple of weeks where I was like in like the high 30s and 40s.
Oh, where you got interesting for once?
Yeah, and I was like really excited. And then I had the episodes.
You told everyone.
Then I had the episodes with Matt and Adam, and it jumped down to like 7.
You know whose fault that is, right?
Who's?
It's Matt's
Probably
fault.
Matt and Adam's.
Matt
No,
and Adam's
it wasn't the content. And this is the thing is Brandon warned me about this right when I started. I'm not saying this, Matt and Adam, to say it was your guys' fault. It was just unfortunately it was the timing thing, I think.
No, it's 100% their fault.
Well, it's funny because
I'm gonna steal Ryan the heel. I'm gonna steal his gimmick. And just shit on
He's gonna
Matt.
be an absolute asshole.
Just shit on Matt and Adam and say it's entirely their fault.
That's what I'm just gonna blame other people for my unentertainingness. Well, you know what?
My gimmick is stealing other people's gimmicks because fuck you. That's why.
You're the gimmick thief.
It's a 2 count.
You're like Eugene. You're like Eugene.
Oh no, yeah, that's too
Except
far.
for you're not mentally challenged.
Well, he wasn't actually. That was just his.
No, I know. But
his
like
kayfabe character.
His kayfabe character. Look at you using the big wrestling terminology. I'm sitting in the office today and I have my phone in my pocket. I'm using my iPhone because my normal phone died. I'll talk about that in a minute. Because I have literally had one of those weeks. Anyway, I'm sitting in the office and Matt messaged me. And I'm sitting there.
So you did what any good person would do and turn your phone to silent and throw it halfway across the room.
See, hang on a second. That's not what happened. I'm sitting there and I have 2 managers on the other side of me. Now, luckily, they are like all the managers are like they're all cool. So shouts to all the managers because they're all awesome. I'm sitting there and all I hear is bang, like it was so loud, and like neither of them kind of sold it. They just kind of like went. I don't even know if they heard it, but I just went kayfabe, and I turned my phone on silence. And I don't know if they heard me or what, but like they didn't sell it. I was just kind of like, did I seriously just say like out loud? I was like kayfabe
at my workplace.
I'm just like shit. All right. I literally typed it to Matt. I'm like, Matt, kayfabe, and he's like, what? I'm like, you can't message me when my phone's not on silent. He's like, how am I supposed to know your phone's not on silent? I'm like,
you motherfucker.
Damn it, Matt. I could love you, but I could strangle you right now, even though it wasn't even his fault.
No, definitely Matt's fault.
Because I'm just agitated.
He should have known better.
It's just agitated. It's just what happens. Because
you're highly strung this week.
I'm very, because I need to explain. So, okay. So as some of you may or may not already know, if you follow me on Facebook and that kind of thing.
I don't follow
because you're not on Facebook anymore. We're going to talk about. I'm going to ask you about.
We'll get to that. We'll do your story, then my story.
Yeah, we'll do my.
Shout outs to Matt and Adam for being terrible, and then go back to your story again.
The podcast that Adam and I did was actually like really entertaining.
The one with just Adam and not Matt.
Coincidence
on that.
No, we did.
How that works?
Matt's good. Matt had his Xbox list. He pulled it out of his ass in like 3 seconds. We kind of rushed the podcast a little bit.
No, I actually did listen to the one with Adam, with the old age thing. And I think it was their Halloween or something as well. And yeah, it was actually pretty good.
He's
That was right when I was traveling back from BC, so like I was in the airport, and so it was just like SoundCloud on my phone. And there you go.
SoundCloud.
Because you got to kill 4 hours, right?
Because we can't use Spotify, right? Because the Hodder Show is on Spotify.
Shout outs to like 10 minutes ago.
Whatever. This all happened this week, so I'm very strung up. But so basically, for those of you who follow me on Facebook and that, you probably may have seen that I had a pretty bad injury this week at work.
Because you're an idiot.
Because I'm an idiot. So I have to explain what happened.
You have to explain to people why you're an idiot.
I have to explain to people not only why I'm an idiot, but what exactly happened.
You're on podcast 84. If they haven't realized you're an idiot by now, you're not doing your fans the service. You haven't been paying attention.
I haven't been doing my job. So basically, I sliced my hand really bad, my left hand, pretty bad. Needed 3 stitches. Had to go to the hospital. It was a pretty big ordeal. Basically, what happened, for everyone who keeps asking me, basically, I had this scraper thing. It's like a straight blade scraper. I dropped it when I was outside, so the blade broke. So it was like the one end was like sharp as like a freaking like I can't even explain.
Well, it's a
it was
blade.
sharper than usual.
It's a blade, so I'm assuming it's going to be sharp.
Yeah, but it was like a scalpel. Like it was like way sharper than usual because it's broke, right?
You're one of those kids that they told you not to run with scissors, aren't you?
I am.
I knew that.
And I still do.
Saw that coming.
So anyway, I'm like, oh, I need to immediately take care of this, right? Because that's my job. So I come inside.
Look at you being all responsible.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty funny. So I come inside. I'm like, go and do my thing. And then someone's talking to me. I'm like, oh, so I set it down, right? Now, there are 3 rules.
Don't get distracted when handling sharp objects.
Don't ever set down the sharp object, because if you set it down, you're going to lose track of it. Yeah. And number 3, always be aware of where the sharp objects are at all times.
And which way the blade is facing.
That's the 4th one. Now, here's what I did.
None of that.
So I'm going to kind of show Garrett what I did here. So I had the scraper. The blade was here. I put it like this.
Okay.
So it was hanging off of like a...
So the blade was towards you.
Yes.
So you basically went full special ed.
Pretty much.
And what's the first
shout-outs
rule?
to high school.
What's the first rule of special ed? Never go full special ed. As people who were in special ed, we both know you should never go full special ed.
We can say that because we were actually there. But basically, so like and of course I was distracted. I was talking to somebody.
Was it a celebrity or something?
No, it was Nick Peters. Nick Peters. Shout out to Nick Peters.
Why were you giving them the time of day then? Like you could have hurt yourself.
I'm a
podcaster,
so it's like I only speak to celebrities.
Suddenly
Nick Peters. I'm gonna have Nick Peters on the podcast at some point. It's gonna be a good time. But anyway,
Nick Peters is gonna make your podcast go up in views.
He's gonna make this podcast great again.
And
I'm not even joking.
Just gonna get him.
I literally asked him straight up. I was like, "Would you ever come like?" You need to have a beer with me and be on the podcast.
He was like, "Yeah." You have to capitalize on the whole Trump thing and just start stealing gimmicks like I do, left, right, and center, and get hats that say "Make the Hodder Show Great Again."
We're gonna make TJ great again.
We're gonna make the Hodder Show great again because we're never gonna have Matt and Adam on together again.
That was a good episode. I like that episode.
Yeah, no
pizza and pop party.
Pizza and pop.
It was a good time. It was like Mike's and beers, but with pizza and pop.
Yep.
It was Adam's first time on the podcast, so it's very.
It was, yeah. He handled himself pretty well for someone with no previous mic skills, except for telling people in Call of Duty to suck it.
Which he's pretty good at that.
He's really good at that.
But anyway, so basically, I got distracted, walked away from the thing, walked back again to go talk to Nick, and then like turned back around. Then at the last minute, he was like, "Oh, blah blah blah," and I turned and I got myself with it
on the knife that you
on the blade
thingy bob that you got distracted from, and you managed to fuck up somehow.
Yes. So at first I looked down and I'm like, I mean, you can see the cut sitting here right now.
It's about
at first it looked just
6
like
inches long.
That's 6 inches?
No,
that's like
that's just what you tell your girlfriend.
Like 2.
That's 6 inches.
Choosing that.
No, it's probably about 4.
That's like
maybe 4.
This right like
from like the end of the stitches.
It's like a 3/4 way up my middle finger, and that's like an inch right there. That's maybe 2. And it is what it is.
Guys arguing about size.
Literally, I'm gonna go get a ruler in a second and be like, brother, that's 6 inches.
What happened on the podcast? Oh, we started measuring how long 6 inches was. Don't ask questions.
Don't ask why. So anyway, basically, at first it just looked like this cut. Which basically the way it is, if you guys see, like it's like the actual place where I got stitches is like maybe a half an inch.
He'll upload a better photo to his Instagram later.
Yeah, and then the rest of it's just like a really bad scrape. Like it didn't need stitches. It was just like a cut. So at first it looked like that. So I'm like, oh, it's not that bad. Mm-hmm. And then like I'm like, Nick, I gotta go like clean this up. I cut myself. Mm-hmm. And as I'm walking, I like let go of, cause I was kind of holding it, and it like opened.
What's the first rule of wound management? Apply pressure.
Yeah, and I was applying pressure, and
then you stopped
because I didn't think it was that bad. And then it like opened, and I was like, oh, that's a muscle.
So basically, you went full special ed twice.
Mm-hmm. Walk into the back.
You had like the 3 strikes you're out. Like, did you do it one? What else did you do?
Well, I went to Dan Johnson for help.
There it is. 3 strikes you're out.
We love Dan Johnson here on the Hodder Show. We're gonna have Dan Johnson on sometime.
So you went to help. I'm assuming they took you to the hospital because I saw the picture.
Yes, took me to the hospital. Shout out to Tammy for taking me to the hospital, taking care of me and everything.
Got you all nice and taken care of.
Yeah,
and then
was
you
all
went
taken care of.
Back into work the next day?
I did. But first, funny story. After I got all stitched up and everything, Sam and I, we were going to go Christmas shopping that night. Mm-hmm. Finish our Christmas shopping. Mm-hmm.
Let's get
so we did. So we did.
You dumbass.
We went Christmas shopping and everything. I have like the cast thing
at the new mall in Oshawa?
No. We just went to like around.
Have you seen that yet?
Yeah.
It's fucking something else.
We were in there like about a month ago.
Mm.
I'm not a fan of it.
You don't like it?
No, I hate the mall anyway. So.
Well, yeah, but I mean, compared to what it used to be, it's a lot better.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. If it doesn't have Walter's music in it, I don't care.
That's true. So you went Christmas shopping with Sam.
Yep.
So obviously you got her to buy her own Christmas gift because you don't know how to shop for women.
Actually, I'll have you know, I've already had her Christmas gift for like 2 weeks.
I picked
it up
you know
myself.
what's even great? I'm on point with that too. Normally I get my Christmas shopping done December 22nd, 21st.
I'm usually December 24th.
Yeah. You got to push it to the limit, right? You got to push it to the limit. I am missing one person out of my entire family, and I got it all done before December even started.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm way early this year.
See, that was our original plan. We started in like October.
See, what's going to happen though is I'm going to forget where I hid them all.
You have to go buy them again.
I'm just going to buy new ones.
I did that one.
And then like February is going to hit and I'll find one. I'm like, oh shit, I was going to give that to Chris.
Here you go.
Happy
birthday.
February 27th. Blah.
Happy Sam and TJ's anniversary.
There you go.
And then, of course, the best part is we went for sushi.
Okay.
So we're sitting in the sushi restaurant, and I'm like kind of like covering my gimp hand.
Because you don't want to get it like contaminated.
Yeah, well, not to mention like people are like sitting there eating, and I'm sitting there like, oh, look at the blood gushing out of my finger.
Because you're an idiot.
It wasn't actually that bad, but so anyway, that was a rough day. Okay, it was a rough day at the office.
So you're already a little tweaked.
So, not to mention, like, just because it was a long week before that, there was the Spotify thing, which pissed me off, and I was having audio issues and shit like that, and just, I wanted to have...
Things weren't going your way.
It was just not having a good week. So, when that happened, I was like, oh, this week can't get any worse.
Challenge fucking accepted.
Challenge accepted. Nothing else bad happened to me personally.
Then you
the week isn't over yet, though. I still have Sunday, so we'll see what happens.
Got like 32 hours.
I got 32 hours. If I can make it through, we're good.
Here's a fun tip: you won't.
I probably won't. Something else is probably going to happen. But basically, make a long story short,
some more drama happened.
Yeah, we had one of my fellow employees and one of my friends. She had to.
Rough day at the office.
Get rushed to the hospital in ambulance today, so that was very rough. I was very, very, very emotional about that. So I was just kind of like,
hope she's doing okay now.
So hopefully, so yeah. I'm not sure, but hopefully she is.
But that would have been stressful from the management point of view.
Well, I mean, it's just for me more it was the fact that like
she was a friend of yours.
Yeah, like I was just like this is someone I work with. Like I see her almost every day, and I'm like, damn, like I saw her 10-15 minutes before this happened, and she didn't seem that bad, and it's whatever. So it's not my place to talk about it anymore than that, but just basically it was upsetting,
and it puts you on edge.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I was, my nerves were shot, and I'm just like, so it was rough.
You couldn't really pull yourself together.
Yeah, it was just it really messed me up. I kind of pulled myself together.
Do you know my trick for dealing with shit like that when shit hits the fan? How I can maintain like a calm and demean composure?
Smoke a lot of pot.
No, I just tell Matt to stop faking it and get off the ground. No,
is this like your thing? You're just gonna crap all over Matt whenever you're on the podcast.
Yeah, honestly, I try to think of something different every time. But yeah. Today's a good one.
That's what I love about Matt.
Normally he's here and he's not.
He's not here because
he's being a piece of shit.
He's doing something. I don't know what he's doing. He had plans.
$20 says he's playing Magic.
I mean, actually, he said he had plans at 7:30, and as we record this, breaking kayfabe, it's like 7:20 p.m. So, I mean, technically, he probably could have been here, but it would have been cutting it pretty close.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Sometimes you got to risk it to get the biscuit.
Yeah.
You got to get in there. So you've had a pretty shit week.
But basically, it's been a rough week. So I said, you know what, boys, I really want to do a Mike's and Beers podcast. I stopped on the way home,
and everyone said no.
Everyone's like, "Yo, we're busy," and I'm like, "God damn it, guys! I really need to have a beer and just make a really funny podcast and laugh a lot and stuff."
And then you realize that I never got the message because I don't have Facebook.
Yeah. So then I text this guy, and he's like, okay. And so I'm like, all right, well, at least Garrett's around.
That's twice now. I've last minute phone call. Hey, can you come shoot a podcast tonight? Hell yeah, man.
I'm there.
The joys of living like 30 feet away.
Yeah, I could just yell at the door probably, and you might hear me. I every time I drive to work in the morning, like this morning, I'm driving to work at like 5 a.m.
You get on a Newtonville.
And as I'm coming on at Newtonville, I'm kind of looking up, and I can see your car sitting there.
One time, I'm just gonna stand there at the top of the hill, just like with a giant like foam finger.
Please do, because that'd make my life.
Like 6:30 in the morning, you're like, you just don't even know what you look up.
I'm already at work by then.
It's the giant foam finger. Hey, TJ, fuck you.
It's just like this morning I'm driving. I'm like, I should go wake him up. Like I one of these mornings, I'm just gonna like give myself like an extra like 10 minutes, come to your house and just like knock on your window like really really like hard on your bottom window.
If it was today, I wouldn't have been there. Wouldn't have been there to wake up. If it was yesterday, I would have already been awake.
Well, what the hell?
So
How are you doing up at 5 in the morning?
It's been pretty shit. My 2016 has been a pretty shit year. I don't know if you've noticed it.
Yeah, it's been shit. I don't know what the hell. I'm glad it's gonna be over soon.
Literally, because like my family's been put through hell and back this year. Like it's been, we lost Ricky. That was pretty gnarly. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but my parents have had some health issues that weren't so good. I've had some health issues that haven't been so good. Jobs up and down. It's just straight
shit year.
Straight fuckery. But anyway, not diving too deep into details, but my mom had some stuff going on Friday, and so we were basically up from like 2 a.m. onwards.
Oh, fuck.
And then, so my sister, when she gets stressed out, she can't sleep. So she's just like, she's texting me, like asking me all these fucking questions because like I did paramedic training a couple months ago. Even though I didn't pass, like I still have the knowledge.
Oh, yeah, you still know what's going on.
Yeah. So she's like, okay, so what happens when this happens and what goes on with this and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, Megan, calm your shit. I want to sleep. And then now I'm awake because I was thinking about it. And so then it was just like a friggin' chain of...
There's just a chain of
fuckery that just led to me just not sleeping Friday. And then I went out last night and then got like 4 hours. I don't know how I'm awake right now, to be honest. I'm running on like 5 hours of sleep in 2 days.
That sounds about right.
And that's why I drink.
That's why we drink. I'm just going to title this podcast, This is Why We Drink.
These are the reasons why we drink.
These are why we drink.
First rule of podcast is to try not to die on the podcast.
Yeah, usually.
You've been sick for an eternity.
See, here's the problem with me is I'm just constantly have phlegm in my throat. Like it doesn't matter. I think it's from all those years of trying to do heavy metal screaming and doing it wrong.
I was going to say it's from the years of work in the corner, but I mean you gave that up about 2 years ago when you met.
Yeah, too much secondhand smoke.
Yes, that's the problem.
Yeah, that was the problem. I guess the thing is just like. I look at like this year overall.
It claimed a lot of musicians.
It claimed so many musicians, and like I almost want to do a podcast like on just how much this year has sucked at some point.
Yeah,
I feel like today is not the day for that, but at some point,
I feel like this 2016 was like the year of failure.
2016 was just like the year of like failure and like suckage.
Yeah,
like it just was a rough fucking year, and like the past like 2 months have been rough.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, I had to come back from BC. I've been looking for work. Just drama everywhere for everyone.
How's the job search going?
Pretty good. I'm doing some freelance stuff for marketing right now. It's interesting, but no one likes doing the job search thing, right? Like it's security for jobs is not a thing anymore.
You're telling me.
So finding a good line, if you get a decent job that you can put up with and it doesn't cause you too much stress, fucking hold on to that shit because it's so hard.
That's the thing.
To find.
Like, it's funny talking about like job search. That was like, this past like 3 or 4 months, the amount of callbacks I have gotten from jobs I applied for like a year ago.
Oh wow,
is ridiculous.
Because they listen to the Hodder show.
I guess
they not the episodes with Adam and Matt.
Not those episodes,
and the ones where you don't talk. So like two with episodes.
So basically, like they listen to like the high school ones.
Basically, all the ones that include me and Ryan.
And Brandon Conklin.
Yeah. Brandon had a couple there.
He's not coming on the podcast anymore though.
No, he got Mike shy.
Yeah, no, he's just.
See, he does have the face for television now. So like now.
See, now he's a good looking cat. So he can do whatever he wants.
Before he had the face for radio. Now he's got the face for television. He's all like, I'm too good looking to be on a podcast.
I'm not gonna come on your podcast anymore in case I drop an F-bomb or something.
I'm too fucking pretty. Because that's what Brandon sounds like.
Something like that.
Brandon doesn't have too many.
Oh no, I will have him on the podcast, even though he's. I'm kind of going to move on to the behind the scenes. I'm like, no, you're not. Screw you. I'll be on all I want.
I'm sorry. Is this the Brandon show? No, it's
the Brandon Bowdnower. No, this is the Hodder show.
So you will do as I fucking tell you.
Do we have a problem? Do we have a problem?
No, Mr. Mouse.
No, well, that's good things. I thought we had a problem for a minute there, huh? All right, they're going to make me some goddamn money.
The minute the Hodder show becomes Mickey Mouse on South Park, it's just going to be a bad time.
It's going to be a bad time. It's going to be a bad time. If you're listening to this podcast to be entertained, you're going to have a bad time.
All right, and I'm going to go on SoundCloud and listen to Hodder Show, and my time is gone.
It's good. It's okay. We're going to listen to the SoundCloud on Hodder Show, and my key's gone.
It's got 8 hours of free time. I'm going to relocate it here onto this playlist, and it's gone.
It's good. It's okay.
I remember quality cartoons. I remember quality cartoons.
Remember quality content on the Hodder Show? I remember.
That's a fucking mad joke. Matt does it all the time.
Remember when the Hodder Show was good? I remember. Remember episode 44? I remember.
Remember the live cast?
Remember the first live cast? I remember. It's just looking back on how good the podcast used to be.
Speaking of remembering things.
All right, guys, just want to take a quick second here to give a big shout out to the first ever sponsor and big time supporter of the Hodder Show, my man, Mr. Jason Reese over at Jaybird Digital Arts. Now, what exactly does Jason do? Well, if you guys need any kind of logos, t-shirts, posters, album design, tickets, photo manipulation, you guys still with me? Advertising, business stationery, mailers, brochures, fine art, and literally anything else you can think of, Jaybird Digital Arts can create it. No project is just a generic template, and every single job is a new opportunity to create something unique. Jason's done all the Hodder Show logos, t-shirts, banners, and even a meme here and there, so I can promise you that you will love and be inspired by what Jason comes up with. You can find him on the web at www.jaybird, that's Jaybird, digitalarts.com. Or you can find him on Facebook under the Jaybird Digital Arts handle, as well as on Instagram. If you happen to use his services, be sure to let him know that TJ sent you.
But we just created the biggest fucking setup ever without even trying
That's
it.
the best setup I've ever done in a while.
You're fucking welcome.
Well, you did it. You're setup city.
Oh man, I saw that coming in my head, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna work out so well." And then you didn't actually talk, and I was like, "Yes."
Because I thought it was a joke, and then I realized that's a good place to put Jaybird right there.
Shout out to Jaybird.
Shout out to Jason. Send me a nice Christmas card. Appreciate that, buddy.
Still haven't got my shirt yet, by the way.
You didn't order one.
You remembered that, eh?
You didn't order a damn shirt. I mean, I did order a couple extra, so if you'd like one, let me know. But goddamn, I've given up too many damn free T-shirts.
I was just being a fucking ass.
I know, but you know how many free T-shirts I've actually given out?
Do you know how many people are wearing them in our friend group? A lot. I see them quite often.
Yeah. Well, what's cool is I might do like a contest where like send me a picture of you wearing your Hodder T-shirt and I'll give you nothing, something like that.
Send me a picture of you wearing the Hodder Show and I'll just thank you.
And I will thank you. I will give you a serious thank you video because those are hard to come by.
I will send you a personalized Snapchat.
I will send you oh my God. I'm gonna be like, send in a picture of you and your T-shirt and you'll get a personalized Snapchat from TJ. Just me doing this, just because I'm that big of a deal that I need to
self-promote yourself through social media.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is I always say to people add me up on my Snapchat because I do my sneak peeks on Snapchat now, so people would find out that
you didn't sneak peek this, you asshole. What, I'm not good enough for your Snapchat anymore?
I didn't know we were doing this till 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, good point. And besides, they'll probably find some way to throw it in after later, oh, look what I just did.
Oh, guys, look. Yeah, tomorrow morning it's 5 a.m. when I'm putting all this together and up. I'm going to be like, oh, look, guys.
You're going to start doing your Snapchats like girls in their fucking food Instagrams. Oh, look at my dinner. Stop taking photos of your food and friggin' eat it.
So I'm one of those people. So it's
That's why I brought that up.
Yeah,
you have a fucking problem.
I'm one of those people.
You have a problem.
You have a problem.
No, we're not going back to that.
Oh God.
I mean, it was a one-time thing.
It was a one-time deal.
But you have a problem with your Snapchat and your Instagram, man. You have
what's wrong with my Instagram? I barely use it.
You blitzkrieg sometimes. You go from not touching it at all to here's 14 notifications in 2 days.
I do that on Snapchat. I'm really bad with Snapchat. But see, the thing is with Instagram, what's funny is the fact that now I have 3 Instagrams now, right?
That's unnecessary.
See, now hear me out. I have my personal one, which I barely use. I barely use it.
That's just for the porn.
It's basically for porn, Sam, the cats.
Which is all the same account in your situation.
And then when I hurt myself or something, I put it on there. Stuff that I want people in my immediate friends group to see, and I don't really care about the general public, obviously. I don't give a shit about that.
So it's personalized.
I have Hodder Guitar Services.
Which you haven't used in a while.
Well, I just started using it again.
Oh, good for you.
I literally put up a post the other day. Because like when I relaunched everything, right? It's like I guess you probably didn't see it because you weren't on Facebook.
Yeah, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah, I relaunched Hodder Guitar Services.
Man, honestly,
I'm doing it again like full time.
Not
this week because my hand, but like after this week.
You know what's fucked up. So most people don't know my education history, but I went for PR, advertising, and marketing, and radio broadcasting, and majored in radio and promotions. So like, when
educated motherfucker.
I'm an educated motherfucker, but I know a thing or two about social media and marketing and all that shit. And like, I'm trying to get career experience in those fields because to me they're easy because I did schooling on them and everything like that. So. You know how funny it is to be in an interview for a job related to brand management on social media, and they go, "Oh, by the way, let me add you on Facebook real quick."
And it's like I don't have Facebook.
So I explain to them why I don't have Facebook, and I tell them every time I've told them, which has happened twice in the past month. They're actually really impressed on my decision because I tell them I know Facebook. Like I was using it for like 7 years. I know how it works. I know the algorithms. I know like it's easy to get a hold of. You can if you had a Facebook profile, you need me to manage it. I can do it. I don't want it for me personally. If I needed a professional Facebook, then I would do it.
That's different.
Yeah, that's different. But from a personal standpoint, I don't need that anymore. I don't need to go on and see what the hell everyone's fucking doing or who saw the new Doctor Strange or you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
I just don't care about that stuff anymore. And I was wasting so much time.
Yeah, just sitting there scrolling through your newsfeed.
Yeah,
I got it. I got you.
Yeah, and I was like, they're like, oh, that's actually pretty smart. I was like, when you want to start doing something for a career, doing it outside of work isn't appealing anymore. And that was kind of my thing was like social media had become so easy for me to like get onto every different channel and check out everything as much as I wanted to. And like knowing how everything worked, I was like, okay, I could do this as a job. And then so I started applying for jobs for it. And then I was like, okay, well now that I'm, trying to work with it, I don't really have an interest in using it.
It's just like if for some reason there was like a podcast network out there that was like, yo, TJ, we'll pay you money to do a podcast on our network. I'd be like, right on. They're like, yeah, but you can't do the Hodder show. Like, you have to like join this panel of like people and like put in your 2 cents. We'll pay you money. Like, it's a good chunk of money. I mean, I probably still wouldn't do it, but like just as an example.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, so I got to stop doing the podcast as a hobby then. And it's now my job. That would never happen, but just as a.
But if it did.
Okay, I'll give you a better example.
Yeah.
Let's say that Outshine gets signed to like fucking Columbia Records. I don't know who signs rock bands anymore.
Didn't they ask if you would help them tour or some shit?
Yeah. That's always been like the big like joke between Brandon and I. He's like, well, you're my tech.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to come with me, even though the dude's probably a better tech than me. But that's beside the point.
Because you've been slacking.
Well, because I just completely gave up on it.
That's a story for another time, though.
Well, I already kind of told the story as to what happened and what made me get back into it. It was just Sam going, so like, why aren't you doing it? And I was like,
oh.
She was like, stop being a bitch. And I was like, okay.
Shoutouts for Sam for calling him out on his bullshit.
Just grabbing me by my balls and just like, what are you doing?
Putting you in your place like you deserve.
Yeah, something like that.
Like Matt in the trash bin. Because it's trash.
We love Matt here on the Hodder Show. But the Mark Matthew Cannon is one of the.
This is what he gets for not coming. Show. This is what he gets.
I'm sure he had something going on. So this must have been important because
I still get to judge him.
He's ditched before to come hang out with me, so this must have been important.
He's that guy though. He's the kind of guy you typically rely on to like.
Yeah, and then the one time he doesn't, I'm like all heartbroken.
Okay, so I remember before we hit the record button, there was one thing you were like, we need to think of like things to talk about, and I said, fuck it, let's just wing it. But you said you wanted to talk about like your craziest story.
Yes, because that was kind of where I wanted to lead with my story of my hands and shit.
we'll do a little thing here. If you're listening to this podcast, make a comment about whose story is crazier from here on out. So you can tell your story first, and then I'll tell mine.
I don't really have any crazy. I don't really have a
crazy
story. You
have to have something that's like.
You tell yours first, and then
you want me to go
mine.
first?
Yeah, because I got to think of one.
So I know you probably forgot it, but I lived in North Bay for a short period of time. But this story of how my roommate threw me through a wall.
Right on.
Yeah. So when I lived in North Bay, I lived in townhouses of 6. There's 3 rooms upstairs and 3 rooms downstairs. When I went there, actually, though, when we moved in, we found out that we had 2 empty rooms. So there was only 4 of us, which was bomb. Because, 2 empty rooms, we could do whatever we want with and a whole 9 yards and everything like that. So it was a guy named Eric, a guy named Brandon, and Brandon Packer, and myself living there. And the fourth guy hadn't shown up yet, so we were waiting for him to move in. So it's just the three of us, and we've been hanging out, we've been drinking, we've been playing Smash Bros, whatever. We find out he drops out 2 days in, never moves into campus, never. So now there's only 3 of us in a house for 6. And then so it's like the first week of school, and we all get called in to go to the residence office. And they go, we want to talk to you guys about something. You have the empty house, which means like, you know, you have a whole floor empty and everything like that. We want to either relocate you guys to another building, or if you guys are willing, we have a special needs student we would like to move in, and we don't have an empty room for him besides the rooms that are available in your apartment. Would you be cool with it? And we're like, yeah, okay, no big deal, whatever. It's not. And what are we talking here? Like, you know, just, you know, be careful what we say, or like, no. He's just, you know, he hasn't really been around people for a couple of years, and he just, you know, he's re-socializing or whatever, and blah blah blah. Well, I guess this guy was a fucking like, I don't know if he was like an ex-con or whatever or something, but this is like,
so he wasn't a special needs student in the sense of like,
he wasn't special needs in the sense that he was like mentally special, which he kind of was, and I'll explain.
I know what you're saying,
but he was special needs in the fact that he was difficult. So the guy comes to move in, and he's like this 35-year-old dude, like, and I was 20 at the time, 21 actually, I think, and so he's probably about 6'4", 6'6", and like I'm tall, and I was probably about 6 foot then too. So like I'm not big, I'm not a built guy, I'm a lanky motherfucker, but you know,
100 pounds soaking wet.
This guy doesn't fucking intimidate me. He's just fucking tall, but he's like, you know, built like a brick shithouse. And he starts having these weird quirks. He would work out in like the living room area, which is like literally just like vinyl flooring in front of the front door. And we put a couch there and like a little TV or whatever. But he would work out there literally like in his underwear watching Hannah Montana every morning.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then like if girls walked past like their front porch, he would literally go outside and like down to like the walkway and like watch them, and then come back in, and then the cycle would continue like every time someone would walk by, because there was like a pathway to the school and around like the residence like right out front of our house. And so the townhouses in North Bay were really fucky, because like there was either like the nice grays as we called them, or like the shittier quality greens, which is where I lived, was in the greens.
Sure, yeah.
And we went to, anyway, long story short, the group of houses, we made a lot of friends, and we were at a party and everything like that. And I get a phone call. And I'm over in the Grays, and I get a phone call from my friend Amber, who's this like 4'9", like 80 pounds soaking wet little blonde girl. But she goes, I need you to come back home. Corey's in our house and he won't leave. Corey's name I'm going to use for the guy.
Okay.
And I go, oh, okay, yeah. Well, because he's technically my roommate. Like we're not friends with him or anything like that, but he does live with us.
Yeah.
So he would recognize me, and like we would be able to talk to him or whatever. And so I go over, and he's fucking shit-faced.
Oh.
But he's holding on to a Malibu, like a coconut Malibu can thing. It wasn't even like a Palm Bay. It was like another little cooler thing or whatever. And I was like, I've never seen him drink beer or anything. Like, I don't know where I never even seen him like walk into the house with anything, like liquor wise. Like, I don't know where the fuck he got it. And I'm sitting there, and like he's like, he's trying to flirt with the girls, I can tell, but like he's just coming off wrong. And so like I'm like, hey Corey, you know, man, I need to go get another drink. Like, come with me. Like, I'm trying to get him out of the house. And so, because the girls are like, clearly they're
uncomfortable. They're like, we don't want this to happen right now.
They're freaking out over. And he's like, man, you're fucking cock blocking me. Go home. And I'm like, dude, I'm not. I need you to come get a drink with me. I want to talk to you about something. And he's like, no, I'm not leaving their fucking house. And I went, all right, let me do this the honest way. Get the fuck out of the house and come next door with me. I got to talk to you. And so he comes right up and gets right in my face. So I'm looking up at him, and I'm looking down. And the two girls, Amber had a friend of hers. They're like, guys, you need to get this. Like, you need to take this out of the house. I was like, yeah, no problem. So like, I took one step back. So to describe the doorways is like two doors like side by side that like open up, and then one wall separates the house. So like literally to get into my house, I literally just have to like sidestep and go in. And so we walked out. We stepped out. And I sidestepped. I'm like, come on, Corey, let's get in the house. So we're standing in like the entrance to our house. So, like, we're in my place now. And Corey's like, he's like losing his shit on me. And I'm like, dude, like what you're doing wasn't cool. Like they weren't okay with it. I don't know if they invited you in. You got to make sure about that. Like I'm trying to handle it as calmly as possible.
Yeah. Trying to talk to him like a human being.
Yeah. And so he's like, you don't understand the shit I've been through. You need to get the fuck out of my face. I'm like, you're in my face right now. My back is to a wall. I can't go anywhere. Like, you need to calm the fuck down. And it's like that fake, like, plywood, not plywood, drift.
Like, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
It's like really thin drywall. Like the shitty, like, residential drywall they throw up. That's, like, got no sound insulation, no nothing. And so he grabs me by, like, my jacket. And he, like, hoists me up onto the wall because he's a strong dude. And he literally looks me in the eyes, and I'm like, dude, if you don't put me down, shit's going to go south. And he just pushes me and throws me back as hard as I can. And now I'm in the drywall, and I'm like sitting in it kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, shit. All right. And I'm kind of drunk because, like, I'd been at another party drinking, everything like that. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure someone just started a fight with me. Like, it took my, like, it didn't really realize.
I'm not.
I'm already in the wall.
I'm picturing you like in drywall, just like I'm not sure. I just like picture if I'm like standing there holding a beer, just look at me. Did we just start a fight? I'm like, yeah, we started a fight.
Yeah, dude,
okay.
he's kicking your ass. Do something. So like my brain took a second to realize whatever, and I didn't realize it at the time. And I could see it once from when I was in the wall. I could see it. Amber and her friend were standing like in my doorway, filming the whole thing. Because like they could hear us like yelling and shit. And so he took a swing at me while I was in the wall, and like I crouched and like tore out of it, ducked it and like got under his arm. So now like I'm in front of the door or whatever, and like he charges right at me, and I grab him by the jacket and like fall out the door. So the girls have gotten out of the way, and so now we're like on the ground like in front of my townhouse. I make one look to my left, and I can see the police and security coming because the girls had called them. And I just like I let go, like I didn't even do anything. I didn't hit on my head. The only thing I did was like duck basically, and then like, grab him and pull him out.
Try and restrain him from hitting you.
Pull him out of the house, and basically, and then so the police like pinned him down or whatever, and they tore him off, and like they asked me what happened, and I said, to be honest, I don't know. It just kind of went like that because I was still in shock from being thrown into a wall.
Well, yeah, that getting thrown into a wall would do that to you.
And so Amber was the girl. She comes over. This is what happened, and plays a video for him or whatever. And they're like, we need to like get a copy of this or whatever. So like they hung out for a while. They did something with a laptop or whatever. Anyway, long story short is we'll probably come back tomorrow and talk to you to get like your full witness report and everything like that. Statement, sure. So like just to when you're sober and everything like that. And I said because I told them I said like I was drinking. I didn't drive anywhere. I was in my home. I was like within walking distance. Yeah. And they said, okay, but so we did the initial statement, whole 9 yards, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, do you want to go to the hospital? Because you just got, thrown in a wall. I was like, it's like the fake the drywall. It's like nothing.
Yeah, it's not much, but like still, it's like, okay, you got thrown through a wall.
And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm probably just going to go back to the party. And they're like, okay, well, be safe and cautious and whatever. He's going into the drunk tank for the night. And it turns out, I found out after that Amber is almost 100% positive he stole the alcohol from their house. So like he was like one of like that fucking shady character or whatever, and so he got instant like evicted because heavy assault against someone is an instant rule for eviction.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but I guess
Eric ran through a wall.
Eric ran into him like at the college or whatever, and I guess Corey told him that like he was actually scared of me when he was like he sobered up, I guess, or some shit. I don't know, but like he was telling me he's like I never heard someone like stand up to me kind of thing, and I was like. Well, I didn't really do anything. He didn't
really stand up. He just kind of like ducked you and like give you a little bit of a belly and belly.
Get the fuck out of the way. But yeah, I remember calling my mom and be like, yeah, so I'm pretty sure I just got assaulted. Well, what do you mean? Well, I got thrown through a wall. Yeah, Garrett, that's assault.
Does that count as assault? It's like I wish like I could have just been there, like just like the other side of the room, just like.
Yo, dude, you're getting your ass kicked.
Like, you hit him.
Fucking do something, you useless.
Just at least like,
but that's
kick him with a nuts.
That's how like my drunk brain was. It was just like I had no concept of being like I should probably fight back. Ow. But yeah,
I should probably hit this thing.
It was my most fucked up experience when my roommate threw me through a wall for like no reason.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's always fun.
Yeah, that's my story. That's my crazy story. That's my go-to.
You being thrown through a wall.
Being thrown through a wall for just, trying to get him out of my neighbor's house. So I got my ass kicked. on purpose.
I mean, I don't know if you say you got your ass kicked. You got thrown through a wall, but that, I mean, you know, who wound up not in the wall? He went up in a drunk tank. So
yeah,
we'll say Garrett
it's a win-lose situation. I won, he lost.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, and it just makes me wonder, like people have some fucking unique experiences. Like no one lives the same life, right? So there's some pretty fucked up scenarios out there.
Oh, there is. Like nothing happens to me. Like that's the thing is like I'm sitting there like so like what's like a crazy story I can tell to like top that? And I'm like, well, I was never thrown through a wall. Like I kind of got jumped once, but then the guy was just kind of like I kind of just like,
dude, you have no money. What the fuck? Here, take your wallet back.
He just kind of like grabbed me. I wasn't like I was like out somewhere like a party and like someone like jumped me and I was kind of like, hey, like, are we really doing this? He was just kind of like, I don't know. And I was like, well, you just punched me in the back of the head. He's like, well, you didn't go down. I thought you would. I'm like, I mean, I'm cool if you're cool. I don't even know who you are. I got no beef with you.
I don't even know how to fight.
I don't know what. Like, I'm like, I mean, if you want to throw hands, I mean, I know a couple holds. Like, we could maybe make this like a wrestling match.
But I'm going to need a 2 count at some point to kick out of.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to I mean, are we keeping a kayfabe or are we shooting? Like, what's going on here? And the guy was just kind of like, I probably shouldn't hate you. I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay. I'm like, all right.
So I guess your craziest story would just be slicing your hand open because you're an idiot.
Yeah. One time someone bashed my head into a bus. Is that a thing?
Yeah, that'll do it.
That's a thing.
It was more of just like because I know that story. I've heard that story 1,000 times.
I think I told it already on the podcast. My buddy, old buddy, bashed my head into a wall when I was like 7.
But you know, like childhood's.
That's the thing is childhood's one thing. Oh, I remember one. Okay, so this isn't really. It's basically it's a thing of mistaken identity. So basically, make a long story short, I'm driving home one time, and it was pretty late at night. I was coming from somewhere that I was very dressed up.
Nice.
Okay.
Fancy party.
Fancy get together. Anniversary. I can't remember what that was.
But you'll fancy it.
Yes. And
that's what matters.
Fancy.
Fancy. You think you're fancy?
Something like that. So I was in my S10. Yeah.
I know where this is.
So I'm driving home from Ajax, and it's like
having yourself a time.
About 2 a.m. Very tired, dressed up.
You don't do well past midnight.
No, I don't.
Unless you're like blitz, like drunk, or just like full of
even
like
when I'm drunk,
cinnamon rolls,
matter.
like
or full of cinnamon roll.
Like when you like, unless you got like a fucking like some reason to be wound for sound.
Unless
midnight hits and TJ's like, yep, that's but
dude,
6 hours past my bedtime. I should
9
probably
o'clock hits. I'm out. Like unless there's a reason for me to be awake, I'm going to bed. But what's funny is like so I'm driving along. And cop lights come on.
Mm-hmm.
I go, what'd I do? So I pull over. Cop comes up, and I see him on his walkie.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes up, and he says, license registration, please. I'm like, yeah.
Here you go.
And I was just kind of like, do you mind if I ask why I was pulled over? Like, was I speeding? And I run a red light? I was like, I'm kind of tired. Like, if I did something. He's just like, shut up. And I was like, oh, okay. So
that's uncalled for.
Yeah, I was kind of like, oh, okay. Like, here I am, perfect record TJ. Like, what the hell? I've never done a bad thing in my life with the law. So anyway, he goes back to his car.
That's what you get for shepherding drugs over the border.
Yeah, apparently. So he comes back. He's like, yeah, is this your car? And I was like, yeah. Well, this car was reported stolen. I said, well, that's impossible. Here's my ownership. Long story short, like 3 or 4 cop cars pull up. Because they're all under the impression that this vehicle is stolen, even though I have the ownership. But because it was a photocopy of the ownership.
Oh, fuck.
Which is legal, just for the record.
Yeah.
But basically, long story short, the cops are absolute dicks to me. And they were like, you need to get out of your car. And I was like, well, actually, I know my rights.
Yeah.
And I haven't done anything wrong. I have all the paperwork I need.
Yeah.
You can't ask me. I said, I will get out of the car as a courtesy because I have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm just letting you know. Like, you can't force me to get out of my vehicle.
Yeah.
Like, I have done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like, as I said, am I under arrest for something? No. Then
what's the problem?
I was like, this is my vehicle.
Yeah.
this is all my shit.
Yeah.
Why would someone steal this? It's a piece of shit.
Yeah, the S10 was not a quality
It was
truck.
just, and this was like near like kind of the end of its life, so it was like pretty rusted.
So
out.
it's still a piece of shit.
Yeah, and like
It was like the mat of trucks.
pretty much. And like finally, this one cop pulls up and he calls everybody off, and he's like, "Get in your stupid cars!" And he's freaking out. And he comes over to me. He's like, "Sir, I'm so sorry." Like, basically, there was a dude who apparently looks exactly like me, who has the exact same truck, and it was actually stolen that night.
Oh wow.
So he was like, "Yeah, like we like apparently he like has paperwork and shit, and like just basically what this guy did, I guess, is he photocopied the ownership,
Yeah.
and like threw it away or whatever, and then stole the vehicle. It's a long story, but so they were like, yeah, like he looks exactly like you, like his description matched yours, the truck matched yours completely.
Yeah.
He was with somebody. I was like, well,
Fuck.
this is my vehicle, so can I go now? He was like, yes, we're so sorry. If you want to file a complaint or anything, I'm like, brother, I want to go home.
It's 2 a.m. I want to sleep.
I still have like another like half an hour drive. I want to go home. So that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I almost like got arrested. For something I didn't
that's
do.
up there.
Yeah.
And then when you let all of the immigrants out because you've been hiding them in the trunk the entire time.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were real happy about that.
Yeah, smuggling over the Mexicans.
The Hodder show is just a cover.
Hodder was actually a cover for my drug organization.
The Hodder, the gangsta.
I had one time at the shop, I had a cop come walking in. We're shooting the breeze, and he says,
Is this a friend?
You Mitch? He said, no, I'm TJ. But I've had people ask me if I'm Mitch before.
Yeah.
He says, huh, okay. I said, can I ask you who this Mitch guy is? Because everyone's asked me if I'm Mitch. And he's like, yeah, he's like a known like drug dealer.
Oh.
He's like one of the big drug dealers in Molinville. I'm like, oh, he's like, yeah, he's wanted for like coke and weed and like basically like everything except for like the really, really, really.
But they don't know
really
what he
hard stuff.
fucking looks like?
No, they do. But the motherfucker looks just like me. Because I've had this before where people are like, yo, Mitch, what's up, bro? And like some really sketchy dudes are always like, yo, Mitch, what's up? And I'm like, it's TJ. How you doing? like, and like,
Unless you need to get across the border, I'm not your guy.
unless you get across the border, brother, or you need like some imported guitar strings, I can't help you. But yeah, that was pretty messed up. I was like, yeah, so like you look just like a known like drug lord. I'm like, oh, he's like, yeah, so I want to watch that.
See,
I'm
all
like,
my
okay.
crazy shit is about people getting angry at me. All your crazy shit is because people think you're someone else.
Yeah, I don't know, like nothing really like that crazy happens to me. I don't think.
Well,
Maybe-
realistically, with how shitty 2016 is, I mean, like we said earlier, we've got like what 20 days left.
yeah.
Today's the 10th.
Today's is the 10th. It is the 10th today
Yeah.
as we record.
So we got 20 days left. We got to make it through 20 days. Some crazy shit could happen.
Yes, as long as nothing else major happens, we're good.
And as long as 2017 starts better, it'd be great.
2017, it better start better. And it better be a better year, or else I swear to God, Spotify, I'm coming after you. I swear to God.
Fucking end it.
God damn it. Well, we're gonna finish these beers.
I'm pretty much done.
Yeah, I've actually been done for a while. I need another one. Thanks for listening to us complain about stuff and tell crazy stories that happened to us.
If you have crazy stories, make a comment. We'll
Yes,
read
let
them
us
and tell
know.
you that you're wrong.
We'll
Matt.
tell you that being thrown through a wall was much more. So what I do if you've heard Matt's crazy story?
Matt has a couple crazy stories, like how he ended up as our friend.
Yeah, he just showed up one day. We were like, cool.
That's wild, man.
It's wild, man. All right, gang. So that was the, I guess we're calling it, for lack of a better term, Fuck This Week podcast. I don't usually like to do stuff like that where I kind of just like complain and that kind of thing and be negative. But it was a long week. I'm glad that the week is over. I hope you guys had a much better week than I did. I mean, it wasn't really all that bad. There was just me cutting my hand thing really, really sucked, and it still sucks. But it's healing. It's healing good. Coming along. I'm looking at the stitches right now, and things are looking good. So hopefully I can be back in action doing the guitar stuff and that kind of thing. Had to kind of lay off that for a week, which sucks because I did have some people lined up to do some work for them. I know a couple of you listen to the podcast, so again, I do apologize for that. But I am getting the strength back in my hand, so I should be good to go by I'm getting the stitches out hopefully Friday. So I'm going to say Monday I'll be back in action for all that and playing guitar again and all that kind of thing. The second I get my stitches out and I get the okay, if they say everything looks good, I'm going to start playing guitar again. So I'll get back into the groove of things. But all that out of the way and the podcast said and done, thank you guys again so much for tuning in, regardless of how you did that. If you're listening on the SoundCloud, be sure to follow the Hodder so you keep up with everything that is going on. Leave a like on this podcast. Also, be sure to comment and let us know maybe some crazy stuff that's happened to you before. Garrett telling his little story of him being thrown through a wall. That's crazy. I've never actually heard that story before. Or if you guys have kind of had a crappy week too, let me know. We can vent to each other. You guys listen to me vent for like 20 minutes about my week along with Garrett. So, if you guys need some venting, hit me up. I'm always game to vent. Again, hopefully no one was too offended by the vulgarity. Whenever me and Garrett get talking about stuff and we're drinking beers, it's just what happens. But if you guys are listening on any of the other mediums the Hodder Show is available on, like the YouTube, then be sure to leave a like or dislike on this video depending on what you comment your life away. Shout out again to that YouTuber, I believe it was Rain Q, who left me a nice kind comment about my podcast and my podcasting voice. Is the first compliment I ever got on my voice for podcasting, so that was very exciting. Even though I think I sound like crap for podcasting, but whatever. I do have a face for podcasting though, so that's okay. And of course, subscribe to the Hodder Show on YouTube. If you are listening on the YouTube, we're still trying to build the brand on the YouTube. Last but not least, of course, if you are listening on the iTunes, which you guys know is the easiest way to listen to the Hodder Show, be sure to subscribe to keep up with everything that is going on. Once you subscribe to the Hodder Show and you set it for download, you don't even have to think about it. Every single time I upload a new episode, it will be automatically downloaded to the device of your choosing. Holy crap, that's a lot to get through. And of course, if you are listening on any other app or anything else, let me know what you're listening on. I'm always curious to hear. I know that there's a lot of great apps out there. Podcast app, Beyond Pod, Google Play Music, not Spotify though. Screw Spotify. I'm mad at Spotify right now. Even though they didn't do anything wrong, I'm still mad at them for not offering podcast hostings for us regular everyday podcasters. But that is okay. Spotify, we're cool now. I'm not mad anymore. We're cool. But either way, guys, I hope you enjoyed the podcast today. Be sure to hit me up if you have anything you want to say or comment on all the social medias. Just search The Hodder Show. I should pop right up. Hit me up on Gmail anytime at thehoddershow@gmail.com. And you can also add me on Snapchat at Terrence James, Terrance, James James. And I will catch you guys next time on The Hodder Show. Take it easy.